Hola. How y'all doing today? Wanted to come on really quickly. I was sitting out here thinking I had just had a conversation with some people. I've had a bunch of conversations today, and they've all been very colorful and animated, and they've given me a lot to think about, especially, just on a personal level, about perceptions. We live in a world full of perceptions. Our own perceptions of ourselves really animate the world around us. How we view ourselves is an internal thing. It's a selfish thing in itself. Not selfish in the sense of narcissistic, but in the sense of, we embody and totally encapsulate our entire being. So to communicate our perception in its entirety is a little difficult, because it's all of the different scenarios, the variables and protocols and the nuances. It's just too many dynamics at play. So we internalize them. We internalize them based off of experiences that we've had along the way that have formed us and our view of the world. We internalize them in our perceptions of ourselves, having to do with how we were raised and all that we were instilled with, whether good or bad, along the way and throughout our childhood, from our parents and our family and our environment as we grew up in life. So it's really complicated, but it is a totally personal experience. Perception is a very personal experience. Yet we all have our own piece of it. So I want to speak to that, because I think that is what boils a lot of stuff down to its most, singular aspect. Primary aspect, whatever you want to label it. You get what I'm saying. And today's just been one of those days where it's kind of gloomy out here in California. I've been busy today, and so I've had a lot of interactions today, and I like to speak to them. Where do I start with this? Where do I want to start? So much going on, not just today, just in life in general. Have you ever had a situation in your life where it has just been filled with a lot of stuff? Just stuff it might not be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, but the stuff that you deal with is so monumental to you that it takes up so much of your thought process that you could spend an entire afternoon just detangling thought patterns, the whys and the hows and the what ifs and the this scenario and that scenario and all this kind of stuff. You get caught up in that after a while. You find yourself in a repetitive situation where you're just constantly repeating this stuff over and over again. And then eventually the mind says, okay, wait a minute, hold up. We're going too far with this. Think about this. Or think about that. That's the beauty of spirit. It always shows up to lead you back to the center point. It always leads you back to the center. That's the love that I speak to. That's the cable, the chain, some may call it. Yeah, that's the ancestral aspect that I speak to. And some may not agree with that aspect. Some may say that needs to go, or that needs to be uprooted in some way. And I would say, why? Why is that? Because if as a mother myself, I know the power of love. I'm sure fathers know the same power, but I'm not a man, so I can't speak to that intelligently nor factually. What I can speak to is the motherly aspect of love. I can also speak to the love of self. I can then go as far as to speak to the love of thy neighbor or thy brother or thy sister. And if my love for my family, my brother, my sister, my cousin, my parents, my grandparents, myself, and my child, while in this physical vessel that my spirit is bound in, is so strong and powerful, how could that love, that force, that energy be admonished once the spirit leaves the body? Einstein himself said that energy can never be destroyed. It just transfers itself. It just changes aspects. So if that energy can't be destroyed, it is there. It is always with us. And this is the frequency or the energy that I speak to when I speak to love. Because that energy is pure love. It is the love of all of those that have come before us. Yeah. So that's what I speak to when I speak to the ancestral aspect and how it's so important. That ancestral aspect goes beyond, mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma, brother, sister. It goes all the way back to the initial ancestor. And many of those initial ancestors have been thought of amongst many across the planet as, or they are embodied amongst many across the planet as maybe some form of deities or different spiritual aspects. They can be embodied in nature. They can be embodied in the reptile species or the insect species, or they are all encompassing. I'm still learning. I am not a guru, but I'm a humble servant. What leads me to this conversation is it has been a really active year for me. Over the last 12 months, it has been so active. Spirit has moved in a tremendous way over the last 12 months. I mean, longer than that, but I'm just going to narrow it down to the last 12. And the topic of the conversation today is how you view yourself is what matters the most. Your perception of yourself is what matters the most. This is what I speak to when I say know thyself. I used to see that. I remember when I saw The Matrix for the first time, and when he went to go see that woman and they were walking in the kitchen and she was making the cookies. And on top of the walkway in the kitchen it said know thyself. I used to think when I first saw The Matrix, way back when it first came out, what did that mean? Know thyself. And I knew it was significant. I just didn't know how significant it was. And as life, continue to unfold, I learn, and I know now, its significance. If you don't know yourself, you are at the mercy of anyone that comes upon you with their own story, with their own I am, with their own agenda. You have to know yourself. This is your defense. This is your footing. This is what grounds you. You don't have to know and be correct about every aspect of this life. You don't have to be correct and know of every philosophy of this life. You don't have to be correct and know of every valley and hill and river and stream and matter of fact of every animal that lives in those realms. You don't have to know all the details, but you do need to know the spirit that is housed within the body that you reside and that you are in control of. You gotta know it. And you can't fake know it. You can't propagate it and sell it and not be it and not totally own it. It's not set up that way. It will show you as a fraud. Many I watch closely, not because they are perfect. Perfection, I told you and I will tell you again and again, is never and has not ever been a requirement. Perfection is something that has been crafted by man to ascend to keep the gate from being overwhelmed. Perfection has never been a requirement of God. Honesty, humility, good character, and the likes thereof are. So, when I watch people closely, when I say watch them closely, that means that I actually give ear to what they have to say. I allow their verbiage, their content to resonate within my spirit, within my mind. And there's only a few people that I allow that. Very few people consistently allow that to happen with. And those people that I allow that consistent dialogue, that consistent interaction to play out within my own mind by way of theirs are not perfect people. I know that going in because I know I am not perfect and it's not a requirement of mine. So I am not let down when they don't respond to a situation the way that I would have, nor maybe they don't conduct themselves in the way that I would have liked them to. What I do consider and carry with me in my interaction with them, whether virtually or rewinding a conversation that they've had over in my mind, whatever it is the integrity of it. What is the integrity? Where is the truth? When I say integrity, I mean, is it springing from a place of truthfulness? Is it springing from a place of honesty? Is it springing, and these are clean places. Is it springing from a place of goodness and mercy? And not even mercy a lot, because mercy is, it doesn't always have to be a merciful situation. Some conversations will not be merciful. Some conversations have to be blatant at times. Because a lot of times, the merciful conversations we take for granted. And we do not allow to resonate within the mind nor the spirit, because they have no power to carry it through to that space. So I won't say mercy. But truth. Is the truth there? Is the heart there? Take heart, y'all. It takes courage. It takes courage and it takes heart to really be present. Not only present, but yes, present, and to see a thing through. Because there will be many variables, there will be many things that will come along the way to dissuade you, to discourage you. That is life, and it's not personal. They are not, a lot of them can be calculated attacks, yes, but they come because they have to come. If you think this life is going to be a cakewalk and you're going to just, oh, I got this idea, let me go and implement my idea, and now it's implemented and it's sprouting and the tree is full of fruit, I'll go and grab the fruit and eat it and my family is abundant and happily we live ever after. It doesn't work that way. It is an adverse situation from the gate. This thing is a trial from the gate, y'all. From the gate. From the moment the sperm was ejaculated and it spread out. It was a race. You and I are champions because we made it and we fertilized the egg. Or the egg fertilized us, however you want to look at it. We made it. We beat the odds. But it didn't stop then. We had to go through the gestation process. Yeah, we had to go through many phases. And then after that, we're nurtured. We're nurtured throughout it consistently in the mother's womb. But then throughout that, we're birthed. It came a time when it's up. This time is up. You can't stay up in here forever. Time for you to go through your next phase. And you were birthed into this physical life, which is traumatic, into this noisy, chaotic place. We came from a warm, all-nourishing, dark environment, as safe as it could be. And just when we were getting used to it, boom, we're brought out into this chaotic, noisy, bright, clattering space. And we've been moving ever since through the hills and the valleys of this life. So for us to think and to sit here and complain, oh, here's this new problem. Oh, here's this new storm. Oh, here's this new situation. It's been like that forever. I'm guilty of it myself. And I had to check myself. The point of this video is, because I can go a whole bunch of different directions with this, but I'm going to stay on target to my intention. And my intention is to stick to your perception of yourself is what matters the most. I'm here to tell you, in this life, I have been called everything but a child of God by those that are supposedly children of God. Well, I can't say supposedly, they are. I have been called everything. That was not me. I don't even know how I even got the jacket. Someone can get one assumption of you based on a conversation and just run the play and create a whole propagated scenario of you based on that. And that's truly unfair. But it's none of my business. It's none of your business. Whatever someone else thinks of you is not your business. And you would be foolish if you allowed it to resonate within your spirit. If you allowed it to cause an inflection in your emotions, other than laughter. Who do you know yourself to be? Are you a king or a queen? Because if you are, you weren't born that. You was born a princess or a prince, and you had to ascend to king or queendom through perseverance, through tenacity, through dedication, through courage. So these are the things that I speak to when I speak to knowing yourself. You got to own your journey. All of my younger brothers and sisters, regardless of ethnicity, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and know yourself from this starting point. You can reflect on your experiences if you're older, and you can see all your wins and you can see all your losses. But we got to get to a place where we own our now. This is my now. The winds of change are ever prevalent. They never stop. But regardless, my now is my now. And my now is based off of all those experiences I have triumphantly and courageously and championshiply came through. You need to pat yourself on the back because of them. Those are award-winning moments. They decide your next step. They are highly important. So when someone tells you you're this and you're that, just let it roll. Okay? I'll be that. Remember that song? I'll be that. 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 If that's what you need me to be. If that's what I gotta be for you to feel good about yourself, I'll be that. Meanwhile, I'm a stand in authority in the woman and the child and the queen of God that I am today. Knowing that nothing can come and rob me of that unless I allow it. These are the things. Perfection was never a requirement. Man requires that. And I don't live for the folly nor the acceptance of men nor women. I am my own woman. I live for the acceptance of the God within. If I can rest well and be settled in that peace at all times with the God that is within, I have accomplished much. Wanted to come on today with that. It was on my spirit. Because see, in life, friend, people that have not accomplished, and this is not to knock nobody when I say this, people that have not gone through the hills and the valleys that you have gone through, they may have gone through some other ones. Not knowing what it took for you to get through your hills and valleys. Not knowing that if they had to go through them same hills and valleys, they might not have been able to do it. Those people will come for you and will speak to you and will try to label you, to try to knock you off of your circle. Just so that they can have a moment of pleasure, a moment of feeling worthy of themselves as you may. They'll come. But it takes the woman or the man in you to know before they come what you're working with. And most of all, who you are with. Who is your father? Who is your mother? Who are you? These are the things that matter. And I'm not talking about your spiritual, I'm not talking about your earthly mother and father. I'm talking about the spirit that resides within you. Who is that? What is the name of that? That's the part. When you ask many people, just in general, if I were to walk to the grocery store and say, what is the name of your God? A lot of folk won't even know how to answer that. I've done it. They won't even know. These be the things. You gotta know like you know, like you know, like you know. Because truth be told, when them winds begin to blow, if they blow strong enough, even the most grounded of us at times get thrown off. It's just the nature of this physical life. You will get thrown off. I'm not saying every time, but surely there will be a time when you will be thrown off. When you yourself will say, wow, I could have did better in that instance. This is not a movie. It's not scripted. It's designed for you to say that, because it's designed for you to look at it and to improve upon yourself in that aspect. It's not designed for you to look at it and be ashamed of yourself and down on yourself because you didn't act the part. This is not an act. This is life. It may be an act for someone else, but to the true, it's not an act. So do not be discouraged. Hold your head high. Be humble, but hold your head high and know that you are loved immensely, that you matter. Close that. And that no weapon formed against you will not ever prosper, not in this life nor in the next, not ever, if you stay in alignment. These things matter, and they come as a sequoia tree or an oak tree or an olive tree in the middle of the desert. Close that. I tell you these things because I know them to be true. Not because somebody told me. These are things that I earned through storms, friend. And there have been many storms. Many. Keep going. And don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Wanted to speak to that today. Wanted to talk to some other stuff, but I got off track a little bit. But yeah, you gotta know yourself. That's the first thing you need to know. Even if it take you 5 years to figure it out, 10 years, 15, well, however long it take, the first thing you need to know is yourself. Because when I tell you, when these things come upon you, they come and they test every aspect of self. They search you to find any kind of opening. I'm telling you what I know. And if you don't know how to guard yourself and guard your fortress, life will show you how. We're loved more than we will ever know. Don't let nobody else's perception impede your perception. Remember, your I am has to be the strongest, or else you will allow someone else's I am to overcome yours, and you'll be walking around here wearing somebody else's. I'm trying to tell you. Know yourself and be good to yourselves and each other. Peace and love.